okay on this. I just wanted to do a video for either beginners that want to learn astrology by hand, so instead of doing it on the computer, actually using a pen and paper and drawing one up. I learnt to do this while I was in astrology school, and it is the best thing I ever learnt. It gave me a very good understanding of what astrology really is. Without that foundation, I wouldn't be where I am today with my knowledge of astrology. So if you want to learn how to do astrology by hand, you'll need a few things, and I thought I would show you what you need. Back when I learnt it, there was no internet, so I had to use books, but I will put links below because there are links to the things that you need on the internet, so you don't necessarily have to buy books. But the first thing that I do recommend that you buy, if you don't download it off the internet, is an ephemeris. Mine doesn't have a front cover because it is 20 years old. But an ephemeris is where the planets are on a daily position in their signs and degrees for 50 years, this one is. So you can carry it around with you and you'll always know where every single planet is at all times, which is very handy. It's my best friend, and it will become your best friend too if you learn how to do it. Okay, so that's the ephemeris. That shows how to put the planets onto the chart. Okay, so to make the actual chart, the wheel with all the 12 houses, so the 30-degree segments of 12 of those, you need a book called the Table of Houses, and you need to use the Placidus Table of Houses. That's because most of us use the Placidus system, so get this one in particular with the green cover. This is the best table of houses, and as you'll see inside here, it's just numbers, but it's the house cusps. So it'll show you where to put the positions around the outside of your chart. So the table of houses does the house cusps, and the ephemeris does the planets on the house cusps, in the houses, to make the entire chart. Okay, so another thing that you may need, if you're not too good at maths, you don't have to have one, but it may help, and that is a scientific calculator that has degrees, minutes and seconds on it, like this, because that's what you're doing essentially, is calculating time and space, which is degrees, minutes and seconds, but also degrees for house cusps. You can use a calculator for that as well. It's actually algorithms. So don't switch off and go, no, I don't do algorithms. I failed all my maths classes. I was excellent at everything else other than maths, but I was daunted facing this maths, but I can do it with my eyes closed now, and if only I had the dedication that I have to astrology in my maths classes at school, because you do need maths no matter what anybody says. You know, so many people go, oh, I'm never going to use maths in my life. Well, I was one of those people, and it's the thing that I use the most, maths. Book of Numbers is my favourite book. I never would have thought that in a million years. Okay, so the calculator helps. Now, the reason why I think you should learn how to do a chart by hand is it opens up a whole, like I said, a whole gateway of information. When you find out what the first house cusp is, or your rising sign, sorry over there, you'll understand what it means. Like, a lot of people, I'm pretty sure, don't really know what the rising sign is. Well, it's to do with the planetary, the movement of Earth and the Sun and the ecliptic plane, and all the things that you'll learn by doing this will make a whole lot of sense to you as to what the houses mean and why they're there. It really opened up a whole world of astrology for me once I pushed past that maths bit and actually learned to make the charts. It's pretty exciting stuff. It'll explain how there's a zodiac around and how you'll get a full understanding of how the planets move. All these things I'll show you now. And it'll really, like I said, it'll really trigger off something that will make you want to learn more and more and more, and then you'll have some structure to your learning. If you haven't learned astrology at all, but you want to, I highly recommend doing this first. There's a workbook below and links for everything as well, ephemerises and table of houses and even a calculator. I really recommend learning this, and that was inevitable. Shh, Loki. Yeah, he's the devil. Stop. Now I'm lost. Oh yeah, okay. So I'll put all those links down below. The workbook is really good. It does the whole thing from the beginning to the end. It shows you how to do a chart. So if you can follow the instructions and use the things that I've given you, easy peasy. You will nail it. Another thing to do is learn about latitude and longitudes and time zones. So, of course, you're not going to memorize every single time zone in the world, but try and memorize at least the country that you live in. And I mean, so in Australia we have Eastern Standard Time, Western, every state has a different time. In America there's Central Time, Eastern Time, Mountain Standard Time, all of those things. Know where 0 degrees is, and that is in London or in Greenwich in England. It goes through there. Greenwich Mean Time is something that you'll come across when you're learning about this. And basically all of this, all of the calculations you use in these books nail down the planets and the positions of the houses to that 0 degree mark, and then you use your time zone to change it to suit you from where you were born. So it is heavily involved in time and space as well as making the chart. This book, The Ephemeris, is not just used by astrologers, it's an astronomy book as well. As you'll see, there's lots of things for astronomers, and fishermen use it too because it's got the moon's phases and tides and stuff like that. So yeah, that's a scientific book, but you will find it in astrology sections if you are looking for it. But as I said, I'll put all the links below. There's the workbook, and I'll get yourself one of those round protractors if you can that has 360 degrees. That will really help. It helps draw the circle for starters, but also it'll help you understand your degrees too. So I hope that helps a little bit, get you prepared to learn how to do it, and if you can follow the workbook below, you'll probably be able to do it within a couple of weeks. Don't give up. If it's a bit too hard, push through it because you'll be really rewarded. You'll be so stoked with the knowledge that you have and how much you want to learn from that point onwards. If you know a little bit about astrology, but just don't know how to do this, I really recommend going back to this and learning this and then going forward again.